Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. There was a time when the Ottoman Empire was at the height, and almost all of the 19th century and up to the World War I, Ottoman Empire was the ruling the roost, and then it became the sick man of Europe, and its leader at that time was referred to as the abominable Porte. History repeats itself, if not in the same place, at in different places, but the situation remains the same. USA was one of the most powerful players in the geopolitical scene of the world for almost 80 to 90 years. UK was ruling the roost and ruled Britannia. Britannia rules the waves. And the British Empire was at the top. And then, by sheer diplomacy, they formed the Commonwealth of Nations so that the Queen could be the ruler, the King can be the ruler of all the countries, at least, if not in reality, in name. Canada posed as a champion of the do-goodness, help to others. So these were the powerful players. You can call them three amigos, as the Mexicans would say, or you can call them the Three Musketeers, fighting the wars jointly, imposing sanctions on the people you don't agree. So that was a compact. But now what's happening? They are fast becoming, all three of them, the sick men of the world. So the Turkey was the sick man of Europe, but today Turkey is heard with respect. And when you talk of USA, it's reviled. Talk of Britain, people take it as a joke. Canada, same thing. These disparagements proved premature when put to test in World War I. The disparagement was Turkey. And as a matter of fact, Ottoman Empire lasted more than the Russian Empire in the war. And the Turks alone single-handedly threw the British, the French, and all the Commonwealth forces into the sea with 220,000 casualties in Gallipoli. It was in the First World War. It was the greatest and near terminal defeat for the career of Mr. Churchill. So it was not sick man. But in the process, these countries are now becoming sick. I remember reading that Canada's longest serving Prime Minister, Mackenzie, said in 1930, we are all passing through the valley of humiliation. The valley of humiliation was not in 30s, it is today. In Britain, we have seen the third Prime Minister in a period of couple of months facing double-digit inflation. The former Prime Minister, Bojo, resigned. Then Prime Minister Truss and the Chancellor of Exchequer resigned. And unfortunately and inexplicably, they produced no proposal for substantial government reduction. However, we should do well to remember that while Rama returned to Ayodhya after having vanquished his foes, we have Rishi Sunak. He has reached the summit. But is he of any use? The point is, would he be listened with respect? Let's not forget that it was Rishi and his Brexit pals that created the economic debacle in the first place. People have very short memories. But the students of history and the students of politics remember that the Britain's trouble started with this young novice MP who, after just being 5 years of MP, was made the Chancellor of Exchequer. People in India, other than Indonesia, are gushing as they gushed when Kamala became the vice president. Sunak was only serving MP for 7 years, no diplomatic skills, no gravitas. How would he interact with the European leaders like Macron, who are established, who have a lot of experience, and who have proved their capability? Rishi is a novice. Maybe he is very good. But would he really be a leader? Or would he just be a hanger-on? As far as his speech was concerned, this showed no proposal for doing, full of platitudes, but no concrete proposals. Anyway, the main worry should be the Tory party's ill-conceived Brexit project built on fables and lies concocted by Rishi. So, from Bojo to Truss to Rishi, Britain is slowly going downhill. America under Biden, the lesser said the better. Canada under Trudeau, wow, it's becoming a joke. So as a result of the last 3 weeks, we have seen that UK is neither united nor great. It was used to be called Great Britain, today it's not great. So Rishi has to get Brexit really done, fix the high contention and flammable things. Would he be able to do so? I don't know. So Britain today is no longer great. It's not a kingdom. It has chosen a child of the empire to restore economic political stability, if not glory. And this usual skullduggery and backstabbing has been the part of the British political coups. Do you mean to say that they are going to let this brown child of the British Empire allow to restore economic and political stability? I don't think so. I remember the Conservative Party members of the Parliament seem to have been reminded of Shakespeare. They have accepted him, yes. But then they have not forgotten what Shakespeare said in Richard II, if you remember that play. He said, forget, forgive, conclude, and be agreed. Our doctors say this is no time to bleed. But the moment there's a time to bleed, Rishi Sunak had better be prepared for the stabs. And then the only thing he'll be able to say, at to brute. So the Britain, the lesser said the better. I don't deny he was the best qualified candidate. But his appointment certainly in the short term will give some breather. However, there is every chance, according to the bookies, the chance is 80%, he'll fail. And if GBP falls below, the pound below the US dollar, UK would lose whatever its status and influence it has left behind. So, meanwhile, now the Scottish National Party is leading the Conservatives. Come to Canadians. Most Canadians are somewhat aware of the debacle in Washington. Since his election, Biden has maintained a war without mercy, and the war is on American oil and gas industry. It is simultaneously disparaging Saudi Arabia and moral pariahs. Anybody who doesn't believe in the Bible is a pariah. Pakistan is a dangerous country. Russia is bad. India at time is good, at time is bad, and even when it's good, there's no harm in giving billions of dollars to Pakistan to reinforce their air force. If you remember, the committee of the Congress, a committee called Unleash Prosperity, they said that they'll produce 2 to 3 million more barrels. But they will not allow Canada to build a pipeline. Apparently at the base, at the surface, they are friends and brothers. Inside, they are the hidden enemies. And President Putin essentially applied the increasing revenue from his high-priced oil exports to finance his war. And now Canada is forced to spending tens of billions of dollars to assist the Ukraine in resisting Russia. Biden is afraid of the green terror and he mindlessly espouses the eco-robot on the autopilot system. He was reduced to calling upon Saudi crown prince, basically with a cap in hand, begging him to reduce production. And even his entourage was amazed. This would make the matter worse for billions of dollars of defense contracts to the enemies. Even great powers, when their foreign policy is based on idiocy, can be what US President Richard Nixon, whom I don't like, but he was the president, and one statement of his, I remember saying, a pitiless, helpless giant. That is what America has become. 5,000 illegal immigrants a day are pouring across the southern border. And they are doing so even when Russia is fighting the war in Ukraine. And that represents an insane effort by America to revive a nuclear disagreement. And look at this tragedy. Obama negotiated a bad agreement. Trump cancelled it, and now Biden wants to revive it. Now come to Canada, the third musketeer, but definitely not the Atagan of Alexander Dumas. The historian W.L. Morrison said, Canada is strong only in moderation and governable only by compromise. And when the Prime Minister calls in an emergency act to deal with the truckers, when he raises the taxes, when he bans the handguns, without consultation, where is moderation? Where is compromise? Never in 155 years an independent country come close to shambles of government that has been unfolding in Washington and in Ottawa. As a matter of fact, Canadian comparative decorum should not lead any Canadian to complacency now. The mindless fixation on the climate, which is showing indigenous and gender issues, are diverting our attention from the major issues. And that's a tragedy for the country. Canada is a treasure trove of resources that Canada is afraid to utilize. As a matter of fact, I think Canadian leaders are sleepwalkers. And they're sleepwalking in the world like a togged up Peter Pan. Based on history, based on the current geopolitical situation, based on the ineffective, inefficient policies of the leaders who are more self-oriented than country-oriented. These three countries might pull together so and resume their rightful place. But that's doubtful. Need is there that they pull themselves up. It's urgently required, imperatively required. But would they be able to do so and join the most respected nations of the world as they were at one time? The time of Roosevelt, Churchill, and Mackenzie here in Canada? Would that time ever come back? If you're thinking about that, I think you are riding up the wrong horse. These three amigos, these three musketeers are fast becoming the sick men of the new geopolitical situation. It's only some idealist some innovative, some daring, capable person like Roosevelt, like Mackenzie, like Churchill. If such person comes to the helm of affairs, there might be some hope. Might. Otherwise, these three countries would be in the category of fallen empires like Spain, France, Ottoman Empire, British Empire. And people say, once upon a time, these three countries were great. Well, things happen. History takes its toll. And who suffers? People like you and me. Thank you.